Stoicism does not begin with hope, motivation, or positive thinking. It begins with control. Brutal, uncompromising control over the only thing that has ever truly belonged to you: your mind. Marcus Aurelius did not write his meditations to inspire crowds or build a legacy. He wrote them to discipline himself while ruling an empire surrounded by war, betrayal, disease, and death. His greatest enemy was never the chaos outside his walls, but the reactions forming inside his own head. The Stoic understands a truth most people spend their lives avoiding. The world does not adapt to you, it does not care about your feelings, and it will never slow down to accommodate your comfort. If you want peace in such a world, you must become internally sovereign. The first rule of the Stoic code is simple in words and brutal in practice. Separate what is within your control from what is not, and never confuse the two. Your thoughts, your judgments, your actions, your effort, your character, these are yours. Other people's opinions, outcomes, luck, the past, the economy, recognition and approval, these are not. Yet most suffering is born from trying to control what was never ours to begin with. Modern life magnifies this mistake. Endless news cycles feed outrage. Social media feeds comparison. Notifications train impatience. Validation becomes currency. The untrained mind reacts automatically, emotionally, predictably. The Stoic refuses to live this way. He trains himself to pause before reacting, to observe his emotional impulses as signals rather than commands. Anger is examined before it is expressed. Fear is questioned before it is obeyed. Desire is delayed rather than indulged. This is not suppression, it is command. Control does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means becoming deliberate. When you stop wasting emotional energy on events you cannot influence, that energy returns to you sharpened. Calm replaces anxiety. Focus replaces chaos. You begin to see clearly where action is possible and where acceptance is required. This distinction alone hardens the mind. A Stoic does not complain about the storm, he adjusts his stance. He understands that life will always contain friction, resistance, and unpredictability. The mistake is not that these things exist, but that most people allow them to dominate their internal state. When you master this first rule, you stop being dragged through life by circumstance. You begin to move through it with intention. Control is the foundation. Without it, every other principle collapses. With it, the mind becomes unbreakable. The second rule of the Stoic code is one that modern society actively resists, avoids, and quietly destroys itself trying to escape. Choose discipline over comfort. Seneca warned that luxury weakens the soul, not because comfort is evil, but because dependence on comfort creates fragility. The modern world has perfected comfort into a system designed to keep the mind soft, distracted, and obedient. Everything is instant. Entertainment is endless. Pleasure is cheap. Effort is optional. Discomfort is framed as something abnormal, something to be avoided at all costs. The Stoic sees through this illusion. He understands that a life without voluntary hardship is a life that collapses when real hardship arrives. Comfort does not prepare you for reality, it sedates you. Discipline, on the other hand, builds strength quietly, without spectacle. It is choosing effort when ease is available. It is training when motivation is absent. It is waking early, enduring boredom, delaying pleasure, and acting with consistency when no one is watching. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort, not out of self-punishment, but out of foresight. Cold, hunger, fatigue, solitude. These were teachers. By facing small difficulties daily, they trained the mind to remain stable under pressure. A disciplined mind does not panic when conditions worsen. It adapts. Modern men are taught to wait until they feel ready, inspired, or confident. Stoicism rejects this entirely. Readiness is built through action, not emotion. Every time you act despite discomfort, you reinforce an identity. Someone who does what must be done regardless of mood. This identity becomes armor. Discipline also frees you from addiction to pleasure. When your happiness depends on stimulation, you become predictable and weak. When you can endure boredom and discomfort without complaint, you become self-directed. This is true freedom. The Stoic understands that whoever controls your comfort controls you. If you cannot say no to ease, you will say yes to whatever preserves it, even at the cost of your integrity. Discipline restores sovereignty. It sharpens focus, builds self-respect, and creates internal order. Comfort promises relief, but delivers fragility. Discipline demands effort, but delivers strength. This rule separates those who merely survive life from those who stand firm when it turns hostile. The Stoic does not seek suffering, but he does not flee from it either. He chooses the harder path today so that he is not broken by an even harder one tomorrow. This is not extremism, it is preparation. Comfort makes you dependent, discipline makes you resilient, and resilience is the currency of an unbreakable mind. The third rule of the Stoic Code is one of the most misunderstood and most powerful: silence, observation, and restraint. The modern world is addicted to noise. Everyone is speaking, reacting, posting, defending, explaining, and performing. Opinions are thrown into the air instantly, often without thought, discipline, or consequence. The Stoics understood something timeless. The more a person needs to speak, the less control he usually has. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself to speak little, listen carefully, and avoid unnecessary conflict, not because silence is passive, but because restraint is strategic. Every emotional reaction you express publicly gives information away. Every argument you engage in drains energy. Every impulsive response exposes your emotional state. The Stoic refuses to live reactively. He understands that not every insult deserves acknowledgement, not every disagreement requires explanation, and not every thought deserves expression. Silence is not weakness, it is positioning. It allows observation, and observation sharpens judgment. When you observe more than you speak, you begin to see patterns. Who acts from ego, who seeks attention, who is insecure, who is disciplined. This awareness grants leverage. Restraint also applies inward. The Stoic does not attempt to silence thoughts by force. He watches them. Anxiety thrives in minds that obey every thought as if it were a command. Stoicism teaches detachment from internal noise. A thought arises, and instead of reacting, the Stoic asks whether it is useful, rational, and within his control. Most are not. This practice creates mental space. In that space, clarity grows. The Stoic becomes slower to anger, slower to panic, slower to react, and therefore faster to act correctly. Modern culture celebrates expression, but expression without restraint creates chaos. The Stoic values precision over volume. When he speaks, it is measured. When he acts, it is deliberate. This makes his presence heavier, and his words carry weight. Silence also protects dignity. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, you reclaim authority over your own narrative. You no longer seek approval or permission. You move quietly, intentionally, and with control. Restraint does not mean withdrawal from life. It means engagement without emotional leakage. This rule alone disarms manipulation, reduces conflict, and strengthens focus. In a world where everyone reacts, the one who remains calm becomes unshakable. Silence sharpens perception. Observation builds understanding. Restraint preserves power. Together they form a mental edge few possess, and fewer can break. The fourth rule of the Stoic Code is ruthless and unavoidable: the destruction of the ego. Ego is the silent tyrant of the modern mind. It is the constant need to be seen, validated, admired, and confirmed by others. Epictetus warned that the moment you tie your self-worth to external approval, you surrender your freedom. The ego feeds on comparison, and comparison guarantees suffering because there will always be someone richer, stronger, louder, more successful, or more praised than you. The Stoic refuses to play this game. He understands that the desire to impress makes a man predictable, manipulable, and emotionally fragile. When ego governs your decisions, every criticism becomes an attack, every success becomes intoxicating, and every failure feels like humiliation. Stoicism dismantles this dependence by shifting the source of value inward. The Stoic measures himself by his adherence to principle, not by applause. He values competence over recognition, integrity over image, progress over praise. This does not make him indifferent to excellence. It makes him immune to vanity. Without ego, clarity replaces insecurity. You no longer act to be seen, but to be correct. You no longer speak to dominate, but to contribute. You no longer chase status, because status does not strengthen character. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that praise from others adds nothing to the quality of one's actions. When ego dissolves, emotional stability emerges. Insults lose their power, praise loses its grip. Decisions become cleaner because they are no longer filtered through fear of judgment. A man without ego is difficult to provoke and impossible to control through flattery or intimidation. This is why ego destruction is not weakness, but armor. The Stoic does not seek humiliation or self-denial for its own sake. He seeks freedom from dependency. He understands that pride invites suffering, while humility builds resilience. By stripping away the need to appear important, he becomes internally anchored. His confidence no longer rises and falls with opinion. It is steady, quiet, and earned. In a world obsessed with image, the man who does not need to be seen becomes powerful. Ego creates noise. Discipline creates substance. The Stoic chooses substance. This rule cuts deep, but what remains after ego dies is not emptiness. It is strength. The fifth rule of the Stoic code confronts what most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid: pain, loss, and mortality. Stoicism does not promise comfort, happiness, or constant peace. It offers something far more valuable: endurance. Marcus Aurelius returned constantly to the idea of memento mori, the remembrance of death, not as a morbid fixation, but as a tool for clarity. When you accept that everything you love, including yourself, is temporary, trivial anxieties lose their grip. The Stoic does not deny pain or pretend it does not exist. He acknowledges it fully and refuses to be ruled by it. Pain is inevitable. Loss is inevitable. Change is inevitable. Resistance to these facts only multiplies suffering. Modern culture teaches people to ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Stoicism replaces that question with, "How should I respond?" That shift marks the difference between collapse and resilience. The Stoic understands that hardship is not an interruption of life, but a part of it. Every difficulty is training for the mind. Pain becomes information, failure becomes instruction, loss becomes perspective. This does not mean emotional numbness. The Stoic feels deeply, but he does not drown in emotion. He allows grief without surrendering direction. He allows fear without allowing paralysis. He allows pain without allowing self-pity. Acceptance does not mean liking reality. It means seeing it clearly. When you stop arguing with reality, you regain energy. That energy can then be directed toward action, adaptation, and growth. Mortality sharpens focus. When you remember that time is limited, you stop wasting it on resentment, comparison, and trivial conflict. You act with urgency and intention. The Stoic does not seek danger or glorify suffering, but he is not shocked by it when it arrives. He has prepared his mind to endure. This preparation builds emotional durability. When life breaks others, the Stoic bends without shattering. He understands that nothing external can destroy his character unless he allows it. Pain can harm the body. Loss can wound the heart. Death can take everything except the one thing that matters most: how you lived. Acceptance of mortality is not surrender, it is liberation. It frees you from fear of endings and anchors you in purposeful action. This rule teaches you to stand firm in the face of the unavoidable and to extract strength from what others fear most. The final rule of the Stoic Code is the one that holds all the others together. Live by virtue, not by outcome. Outcomes are unstable, unpredictable, and often outside your control. You can do everything right and still fail. You can act with discipline and still be ignored. You can give your best and still lose. The Stoics understood this reality clearly and refused to tie their inner stability to external results. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the quality of a man's life is determined by the quality of his actions, not by the applause they receive. Virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance is always within reach, regardless of circumstance. This is why it becomes the Stoics' metric for success. When you live by outcome, your emotions swing wildly between pride and despair. When you live by virtue, your inner state remains steady. The Stoic asks not, "Did I win?" but "Did I act correctly?" This creates psychological independence. Failure loses its power to humiliate. Success loses its power to intoxicate. You become consistent, grounded, and internally aligned. This rule also removes fear of judgment. When your standard is internal, opinion becomes irrelevant. You no longer distort your actions to be liked or admired. You act according to principle, even when it is inconvenient, even when it costs you. This builds self-respect, the rarest and most durable form of confidence. Virtue is not passive morality. It is active discipline. It requires courage to face discomfort, wisdom to judge correctly, justice to act fairly even when no one is watching, and temperance to restrain excess. Living this way is demanding, but it creates a mind that cannot be easily shaken. The Stoic Code does not promise ease, wealth, or constant happiness. It offers something more valuable: inner stability in an unstable world. When you live by virtue, external chaos loses its ability to dominate you. You may be defeated, but you are never degraded. You may suffer, but you are never lost. This is the final transformation. When control is established, discipline enforced, ego destroyed, pain accepted, and virtue upheld, the mind becomes unbreakable. The Stoic Code does not make life softer. It makes you stronger than life, and that is the point.